morning, everyone. We are live. I'm going to get housekeeping out of the way and make sure that you can all hear me. So let me know as you're coming through if you can hear me loud and clear. Pop in the chat box, thumbs up, and also let me know where you're dialing in from. We have 750 people registered, so we'll wait for a few of those to come through and then we'll get started with today. If somebody can let me know, I can see you all coming through. So if one of you can let me know in the chat box that you can hear me loud and clear and you can see me on camera, that would be great. And we'll get started with today's show. I can see actually quite a few new names coming through as well. That's good. Can you hear me? Awesome, thank you. They're coming through now. I was worried there for a moment. Thanks very much, fantastic. Right, okay, now I can hear, now I know that you can hear me loud and clear. I'm gonna get started with today's show. Welcome and good morning. You are watching At Home with Hayley. We are a free webinar that's been running for a number of years now. We originally started out for COVID updates actually during the first ever lockdown. We've been super successful. We're across over 18 different countries. I say over 18 because we've been at 18 for a very long time, but I know that we've exceeded that now. So I really should count up how many we actually are across. But as I said, we've got 750 people that are tuning in and it's all over the world. Do let me know in the chat box where you are dialing in from so that I know. Oh, thank you very much. Someone's saying they love my cherries. That's awesome. So yes, morning and welcome. Happy Halloween for those that were celebrating yesterday. I dressed up as a Ghostbuster, naturally, as you do. I'll be putting some videos out on my Instagram later today of me dancing in my Ghostbuster outfit with my blow up proton gun and backpack and catching all of the ghosts around Warwick Castle. Actually, first time that I've done that. I've been to Warwick Castle many times, but this was Warwick Castle after dark. Fantastic band on, some scary house experiences of which I'll probably not sleep for a very long time now, but it was super to enjoy that time with my family. And I actually had the day off yesterday as well, which is not like me. But I'm back today, ready and raring to go. Today I've got 2 site visits on and several other meetings as well, and then we'll be doing a movie night tonight with pizza and scary movies with my son and my family as well. But hopefully you all had a wonderful celebration yesterday. Happy to Diwali as well to those that celebrate, yeah, we're going to get on with today's show. So we are giving you updates of the UK property market. We often have guests on as well that are speaking about their expertise and can help you within your business. But for those that are new tuning in, I can actually see quite a few new names. I'm going to introduce myself and tell you a little bit about who I am. So I'm Hayley Andrews. I'm the co-founder of Your Freedom Empire, which is a business and property training organisation. I've been in the industry since 2002. My portfolio consists of commercial and residential. I own bars, restaurants, a museum, car parks, hotels, serviced accommodation, buy-to-lets, HMOs, small and large, from 4 people sharing up to 21, 22 beds, and everything else in between. So I specialise in listed buildings. I own a construction company, and restoration company. I own a estate and lettings agency. I own a sourcing division across the UK of 42 agents. I've been named one of the UK's most inspirational female entrepreneurs. And our networking event, Hard Hats to Heels, is an award-winning networking event as well. I'm an award-winning property investor, and we're also an award-winning property education as well. So that's a little bit about me. I am also on the hit Sky TV show Property Elevator, which is the property dragon's den, basically, where budding property investors will stand there, pitch their deal to a panel of angels, and then we decide if we're going to be investing in their deals or not. We will be recording next year in March or February. Actually, I'll have to check my diary. However, applications for that will open in January. So if you do have a deal and you want to pitch it to the angel investors and you want to be on TV, then please feel free to register, and hopefully you make the cut. We are also on Amazon Prime now as well. So for those that watch through Amazon Prime, you can go and have a look at Series 7 on there. But that's enough about me. Today we're going to do a market update, and I'm going to talk to you about the budget mainly, but also the market as it sits with statistics that have come out for October, and also for rental and sale data as well. So I'm going to jump across now and jump off camera and get into my market update. So you have to bear with me. I'm actually reading this from articles, and those that know me know that I'm too vain to wear glasses, and I don't like the idea of contact lenses. So some of it's quite small, so you'll have to bear with me. But I'm going to start off with, by the way, just as we're going through, if you do have any questions, general or otherwise, please pop your questions in the chat box. I will answer them at the end of this market update. We will also be going through a few other announcements as well after the update, and I'll address your questions there or privately. All questions are private as well, so no one can see what you're writing, and of course I will keep that private and not call out your names. So one of the things I'm going to look at headlines this month in regards to the government. One of the ones I really had to laugh at and really beg to differ is the government saying those with shares or assets are not working people. I think I work harder now and have done for the last 22 years than I ever did in any employment, being a landlord, a developer, an investor, investing in businesses, other people's projects, running estate agents, construction companies, and employing lots of people as well. It's just laughable, really, isn't it? But let's have a look at the circus clowns running our country. Clearly, I'm not a Labour fan, but this Wednesday gone, of course, Labour delivered their first budget. So that's what we're going to focus our time on this morning, and then go into, of course, as I said, stats for residential sales and lettings. So Labour's budget raises taxes by 40 billion. Now, before we dive into the specifics, let's talk about the outlook. So the Office for Budget Responsibility, OBR, is forecasting inflation to sit at 2.5% this year. After that, we'll see it fluctuate slightly to 2.6% in 2025, 2.3% in 2026, then gradually falling to 2% by 2029. And while inflation calls, economic growth is also on the agenda. The economy is expected to grow by 1.1% in 2024 and by 2% in 2025. So tackling one point at a time. So Labour announced they will appoint a COVID corruption commissioner to those to go after those companies basically that profited unfairly during the pandemic, vowing to get that money back. They're also cracking down on fraud within welfare payments and taking a harder line on tax avoidance. Interest on tax debt will go up, aiming to deter late payments and actually spreading payments. Another pay increase then for workers. So the national minimum living wage will rise to £12.21 an hour. Another significant boost. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about this later on. But also to support drivers, fuel duty will remain frozen for another year. So tax and thresholds then. So income tax, VAT and national insurance won't be increased, but employers' national insurance contribution will rise to 15% starting in April 2025. The Chancellor also announced changes to capital gains tax, with the lower rate moving from 10 to 18% and the higher rate from 20 to 24, but rates on residential property will remain the same. The UK will still be the lowest capital gains tax rate among European G7 countries. Inheritance tax, I'm going to talk to you about some of these in a little bit more detail later on. But inheritance tax is always a sensitive topic, and the Chancellor acknowledged the desire to pass on wealth to the next generation. The inheritance tax threshold freeze, that was a mouthful. The inheritance tax threshold freeze, originally planned until 2028, has been extended to 2030. The first 325,000 of any estate will remain tax-free, rising to 500,000 if a home is passed to a child, or grandchildren, and up to 1 million for a surviving spouse or civil partner. A shift for second homes as well. So the non-dom, we'll talk to you about that a little bit later on. The non-dom tax status is officially ending in April next year, and there's a big shift for second home buyers at stamp duty land tax. This will increase to 5% as of yesterday, actually, so has already increased. This increase has sparked some backlash. Arla Property, Mark President, raised concerns about its impact on the private rental market. She said, we continue to see a growing disparity in the number of private rented homes available against a backdrop of increasing demand from tenants. Therefore, it's disappointing to see that the UK government did not address this fundamental issue in the autumn budget, and instead has announced yet another blow for landlords by increasing stamp duty on second homes. She went on to stress the importance of support for the private rented sector, with 4.6 million private rented homes in England alone. Truman is urging the government to rethink its approach and incentivise landlords to invest rather than face a constant barrage of regulatory and financial burdens. So there you have it. Labour's big, bold vision to drive investment and growth. And as always, there are plenty of reactions and plenty of more questions as well. So a key measure really, so a quick roundup. And as I pick these out, I'm going to actually flick across to my accountant's sheets that will give a little bit more detail on each of these points. But tax increases, the budget raises taxes by 40 million. The national insurance, living wage and national minimum wage are up. The government has announced increased rates of the national living wage and the national minimum wage, which will come into force from April 25. The rates that will apply are, as I said earlier, from the 1st of April 2025, national living wage will be £12.21. For 18 to 20-year-olds, it will be £10. 16 to 17-year-olds, £7.55. And apprentices also at the same at £7.55. Capital gains tax, the lower rate will rise from 10 to 18 and the higher rate 20 to 24. So while the residential property remain unchanged, I'm just going to actually pop in and pick up, and this is very small writing, but I'm going to read some information from my accountant on their news feed. So capital gains tax rates. The capital gains tax rate will increase for disposables other than of residential properties and carried interest made on or before the 30th of October 2024. The basic rate of 10% will increase increase, as I said, to 18, and the 20% rate will increase to 24. No changes will be made to the rate applying to disposables of residential properties of 18 to 24%. The rate applying to trustees and personal representatives will increase from 20 to 24 from the same date. So the changes in the main rates of capital gains tax bring them in line with those paid on disposable of residential property. This means that there will be no need going forward to differentiate between the types of property being disposed of. Capital gains tax annual exemption then. So the annual exemption amount will remain at £3,000 for 2025 to 2026. Business asset disposal relief and investor relief. So the rate applying for individuals claiming business asset disposal relief and investors relief will increase from 10% to 14% for disposals made on or after April 2025. The rate will increase again to 18 for disposals and on or after the 6th of April 2026. In addition, the lifetime limit for investors relief will be reduced from 10 million to 1 million and just take a sigh as I'm reading this out. So from 10 million to 1 million for qualifying disposals made on or after October 30th of October 2024. The limit takes into account any prior qualifying gains where the relief was claimed. Carried interest rates and reforms. So the rates that apply to carried interest of 18% and 28% will increase to a flat rate of 32%. This will apply to carried interest arising to an individual on or after April the 6th, 2025. From April 2026, all carried interest will be taxed within the income tax framework. A multiplier of 72.5% will be applied to any qualifying interest brought within the change. Capital gains tax on liquidation of a limited liability partnership. So where members of a limited liability partnership has contributed assets to the LLP, chargeable gains that accrue up to the contribution will be charged to tax when the LLP is liquidated and the assets are disposed of to the member or person connected to them. The charge of tax will be on the member, and the measure will have an effect on the liquidations that commence on or after October 30th, 2024. So reducing tax-free overseas transfers of tax relief on UK pensions. So the overseas transfer charge, OTC, is at 25% tax charge on transfers to qualifying recognised overseas pension schemes unless an exclusion from the charge applies. Transfers to the QROPS established in the EEA and GILTA were included within the exclusion, but this exclusion will no longer apply for such transfers made on or after 30th of October 2024. So just moving on to inheritance tax, and I know, this obviously was it was one I was most worried about, if I'm completely honest. So the nil rate band has been frozen at 325,000 since 2009, and this will continue to be frozen up to April 2030. An additional nil rate band called the residential nil rate band is also frozen at the current 175,000 level, as the residents' nil rate band taper starting at 2 million. These are all frozen until April 2030. Unused pension funds and death benefits. So the government will bring unused pension funds and death benefits payable from a pension into a person's estate for inheritance tax purposes as of April the 6th on 2027. This is actually quite an in-depth one, so I'm not going to read all of that. I'm going to go on to other matters. So we've got VAT, registration threshold, we've got removal of VAT, exemption for private schools. We've talked about stamp duty, and making tax digital is another one for income tax and self-assessments. So I'm going to flick back here. So if we look at the non-dom tax status, and let me just check the chat box, any questions there? No. Okay, so if we look at non-dom tax status then, so this status will be abolished from April next year. I'll go into a bit more detail on this, mainly because we've got quite a few non-doms that listen in. So significant changes are made to the tax regime relating to non-UK domiciled individuals. From April 6, 2025, changes will be made to replace the remittance basic of taxation, which is based on domicile status, with a new tax regime based on residence. The new regime will provide 100% relief on foreign income and gains for new arrivals in the UK in their first 4 years of tax residence, provided they have not been UK tax residents in any of the 10 consecutive years prior to their arrival. The protection from tax on foreign income and gains arising within settler-interested trust structures will no longer be available for non-domiciled and deemed domiciled individuals who do not qualify for the 4-year foreign income and gains regime. Traditionally, the CGT purposes, or for CGT purposes, current and past remittance basic users will be able to rebase foreign assets they held on the 5th of April 2017 to their value at that date when they disposed of them or dispose of them. Any foreign income and gains that arose on or before the 5th of April 2025, while an individual was taxed under the remittance basis, will continue to be taxed when remitted to the UK under the current rules. This includes remittance by those who are eligible for the new 4-year foreign income and gains regime. A temporary repatriation facility will be available for individuals who have previously claimed the remittance basis. They will be able to designate and remit at a scheduled rate foreign income and gains that arose prior to the changes. The facility will be available for a limited period of 3 tax years, beginning in 2025 to 26. The facility rate will be 12% for the first 2 years and 15% in the final year of operation. The current domicile base system of inheritance tax will be replaced with a new residence-based tax system, which will affect the scope of non-UK property brought in UK inheritance tax for individuals and trusts. Overseas work day relief will be extended to 4 years to align with the new 4-year foreign income and gains regime, and will be subject to a financial limit. The amount of relief that can be claimed, namely the lower of 300,000 or 30% of an individual's total employment income. So stamp duty, land tax, the surcharge on second homes, as I said, has already increased from 3% to 5% as of Thursday. So yesterday. Business rates, so for 2025 and 26, eligible retail, hospitality and leisure properties in England will receive 40% relief on their business rates liability. The RHL properties will be eligible to receive support up to a cash cap of 110,000 per business. For 2025-26, the small business multiplier in England will be frozen at 4.49.9p. The standard multiplier will be increased to 55.5p. So criticisms then, so critics argue that the budget's tax hikes and increased borrowing will hinder economic growth. I have to agree, and place additional burdens on businesses and individuals. Also agree. Concerns have been raised about the potential impact on employment and investment, with some viewing the measures as contradictory to Labour's promise to protect working people from tax increases. The budget reflects Labour's usual strategy and was expected. Labour always places blame, always increases borrowing, increases tax, and makes empty promises. They give those that do not contribute and take away from those that have worked hard and paid taxes all their lives. I've got no problem in saying that out loud, and those that know me, I've said it many times out loud. So let's move on or away from the budget and our government, and let's have a look at some Rightmove data and look at some rental figures then. So headlines from October's report. Rents hit another new record. So average advertised rents outside of London hit 19 consecutive quarterly record of 1,344 per calendar month. That's up 5.2% versus last year. London's rents also hit a new record at 2,694 per calendar month, a 2.5% increase on last year's figures. Both in London and outside the capital, the pace of annual rental price growth continues to slow. So although it's up, it is slowing down. Balance between supply and demand is improving. The average number of inquiries per rental property is now at 15, down from 23 last year, but nearly double the 8 recorded in 2019. So still up. Available supply has increased by 13% year on year, though it is still 27% below the 2019 levels, highlighting continued pressure on the rental availability. More than a fifth of rental properties are currently seeing a reduction in the advertised rental price. I was quite surprised to read that, actually, because I have not seen that in any of the areas that I operate in. But this is from property data. So they are saying that more than a fifth of properties that are seeing a rental reduction in the advertised rental prices before finding a tenant, compared with 16% last year. Record proportion of former rental homes now for sale. What a surprise. It appears some landlords are bracing for potential capital gains. Well, we know that now as of the budget, as well as new EPC regulations, which is making everyone nervous, as a record proportion of former rental homes are now on the market for sale. Rightmove hopes to see measures from the government that will encourage landlords to stay in the market. We didn't see that in the budget in any shape or form, and they're hoping that it will help them with the transition to greener homes. Randomly, I came across the 10 cheapest cities to rent in Britain, so I thought it'd be quite cool to share with you. So Carlisle is the cheapest city to be rented, to rent in. New data has revealed that Carlisle is the cheapest city in Britain to be a renter, with the average advertised rental price for an equivalent 2-bedroom or smaller property now at £607 per month. In contrast, Oxford is the most expensive city outside of London to be a renter, with an average 2-bed or smaller home currently advertised at £1,561 per calendar month. This study, which focused on first-time buyers type properties, 2-bedroom homes or less, analysed both the average monthly rent and
average monthly mortgage payments in the largest cities across Britain. So data from the UK Finance shows that the average deposit size in Scotland and Wales is 20%, while in England it is 25%, and more first-time buyers are choosing longer repayment terms to improve their affordability. Average monthly mortgage payments were calculated on this study. And in this study here, and I've got them all here, but I'm not going to read them all out, we've got cities from Carlisle, Hull, Sunderland, Stoke-on-Trent, Doncaster, Bradford, Wrexham, Lancaster, Aberdeen and Preston. And we've got an average monthly rental payment from the cheapest at 607 to the most expensive at Preston, 787. Then we've got average asking price for a first-time buyer type property, so your 2 beds and fewer, starting in Carlisle at £111,000, 268p, up to Preston, which is the more expensive in these cheapest cities to rent, that is, of 112,273. And the average mortgage payments on those, or that amounts, ranges from £413 up to £416. And the rent versus mortgage comes from plus 124 to 371. So you can see the benefits, of course, from buying, but also the average prices to buy for those types of properties and the rental yields that you can achieve. So now let's have a look at some sales data. Excuse me. So key takeaways from there are, and I've got this from Zoopla House Price Index. So UK house price inflation increases to 1%, up from 0.9% a year ago. Sales activity running at the highest level since 2020 boom. Pipeline of sales agreed is 30% higher than a year ago at 113 billion. High supply of homes for sale and affordability pressures are keeping house price inflation in check. First-time buyers are the largest buyer group in 2024 with 36% of sales. Rapid growth in rents and decline in mortgage rates have shifted the renter versus buying dynamic and supported more first-time buyers. If we look at 2024, a bumpy year for sales. So 2024 is turning into a bumpy year for housing sales as intense competition amongst lenders has seen average mortgage rates reach their lowest for 2 years. Together with rising income, this is supporting the highest level of new sales agreed since 2020. Boom in the wake of the pandemic restrictions being lifted. So house prices are rising more slowly, but up by just 1% over the last 12 months to September 2024 compared to 0.9% a year ago. Price inflation is being held back by a large choice of homes for sale, while buying power is being kept in check by affordability pressures. House prices are rising at an above average rate in some areas with more affordable house pricing. For example, the North East is at 2%, Yorkshire and Humberside is 2%, the North West is 2.3%, Scotland is sitting at 2.4%, and Northern Ireland at 5.6%. House prices are posting small falls in some eastern areas at minus 0.3% and southeast at 0.1%. UK house prices remain on track to be 2% higher over the 2024 period. So hopefully that was interesting. There was a lot to kind of get out there. So I can't see any questions in the chat box. If you do have any questions, please do pop them through. If we don't have time to cover them today, we will have time, or I personally will make time to come back to you afterwards. And so overall, what we expected with the budget, not really anything a surprise. What we expected from Labour. Hopefully they don't stay in power for too long. So ride the wave, I would say. But make sure you are getting tax advice, and you are looking at tax planning as well, and you're sorting yourself and your business out. And then you're in the know. You can make the decision fully informed of what you do with your business. So we have some bad news, I would say. Our November Hard Hats to Heels networking event will be cancelled. I'll pop this on all WhatsApp groups and across our social medias as well. Unfortunately, the venue which is my venue, which is a beautiful Grade 2 listed building, the ballroom has had a leak. The leak has come from the roof, so it can't be fixed super quick. It's a scaffolding job. It's a very high building, so November event will be cancelled. So those that have purchased tickets for November event, you will automatically move to our January event, because our December event is our Jingle and Mingle. So you will need to obtain tickets to that event. So I will talk to you about that now. So we've come up with the idea of Jingle and Mingle, where we've got 6 of Birmingham's best property networking events that have come together in collaboration to celebrate Christmas. So it is going to be a phenomenal evening. The uptake on tickets is unbelievable. This will be a sellout, 100%. They only went live yesterday, and we're already over 100 tickets sold. So if you would like to join us, it is the only time I think this has been done. So I came up with the idea that it would be great to bring all of the networking events together in collaboration to celebrate Christmas. So I reached out to the Developer Network, which is phenomenal, Ming, which is your Midlands Investor Networking Group, Partners in Property, Adam Lawrence, PIN, which is Nisha, and then one of my favourites, Kev Cox from Regional Property Meets. And we've all come together to deliver a great Christmas. So if you're not part of any of these networks, you can still buy a ticket, come and celebrate with us. It is going to be the networking event of all networking events, but don't make no mistake, we are there to party. We're going to have a great time. There's food, drinks, live entertainment, and we're there to celebrate Christmas and collaboration. So if you'd like to join us, scan the QR code on screen now. Tickets are £30, and we'll see you in Birmingham on the 14th of December. For those that haven't got their tickets yet for the Property Investor Awards, tickets are still on sale. You can actually just go to their website and buy the tickets direct. So you don't have to come through me. But for those that would like to come and celebrate with over 1,000 property investors, rubbing shoulders with the best of the best in the industry, superb food, superb celebration, celebrating those that have done exceptional work within 2024. This is not to be missed. It's a fantastic event, and you will have an amazing time. I will be there along with many of the Hard Hats to Heels ladies and many of our Your Freedom Empire mentees, trainees, and students. So it's going to be a great party as well. And that is at the Grosvenor House, Marriott Grosvenor House in Mayfair in London on the 30th of November. So grab your tickets. And then, of course, we've got Property Elevator Series 7. It is now out on Prime, Amazon Prime. So if you want to go and watch the full series, you can do there. And it's also on our YouTube channel, Your Freedom Empire as well. I'm going to skip over that one. For those that would like to join us on our next property success convention, this is a one-day jam-packed filled day of learning where we talk to you all about the different strategies, what to look out for, how to analyze a deal, how to structure, finance, and everything else in between, from research to tax planning. Everything is in there. If you would like to join us, scan the QR code on screen now, and we'll see you at the next event.
You can also book a consultation call with me or one of the YFE mentors. We have 11 mentors within Your Freedom Empire. You can do that by scanning the QR code on screen now, and that is free for your first call, and it's for 30 minutes. And then, of course, we are Your Freedom Empire. We are a global training organization. We've been running since 2006. We're one of the best, we are actually award-winning as well. We're exceptional at what we do. We practice what we preach. As part of training, you get to come and see live sites and all things like that. This is about moving you and your business forward. So if you want to give yourself the unfair advantage and you want to have a look at the training that we have on offer, please feel free to pop along to our website or scan the QR code. You can have a look at my bio on there as well. You know, what gives me the confidence to stand there and teach. Not only have I been doing it over a decade, I've been in the industry since 2002. I own a multi-million property portfolio, several businesses around property and outside. I invest in people's projects, other people's businesses, and I practice what I preach. I'm an active investor and developer. Currently working on 3 sites and have 5 purchases going through, which are outside of or just general kind of fluff, buff, turnaround or asset management. So we're very, very active. So if you want to learn from those that have been there, done that, got the t-shirt and can back it up, then scan the QR code, go and have a look at the training that we have. We have everything from mastermind programs, online, on demand, courses, live in class, one-on-one, or a class of up to 20. We don't do huge classes. You get the one-on-one time you need from experts within the industry. So pop along to our website and check out what we're all about. But that's all we have time for. It's been great to come back this month. I can't believe it's November. I'm very excited for November because for the first time ever in my life, as soon as Bonfire Night has passed on the 5th of November, that first weekend, I will be putting my Christmas tree up, which never, ever happens. I'm one of those people that always says, no, I will not celebrate Christmas until at least the 1st of December. And that is the first time that you will hear me listening to Christmas music or doing anything to do with Christmas at all. However, this year, I feel like I need Christmas early. It's been an absolute manic year. We've grown so much this year and we've done so much across every different everything different that I do and we do as a team and as a business. So I'm going to give myself that little bit of extra and start celebrating Christmas early. So yes, if you're one of the nuts that kind of say, which I normally do, that you can't celebrate Christmas until 2 weeks before, I'm normally on your wavelength. But this year, yeah, I'm going to get festive and get festive early. But look, hopefully you enjoyed today's show, and it's been great. There are a few questions in the chat box, but we are actually running out of time, so I will come back to you guys personally. But I'm going to say have a wonderful November, make it count, and I'll see you again next month. Goodbye for now.